Hey everyone, Jamie here. What I wanted to talk about today was the fact that we will receive inspiration to do certain things. We will feel inspired to take certain actions. Something will cross our paths and we'll want to do something about it. And as humans, I don't even know if we're capable of not assuming that we know what's going to come of it. But the truth is we don't know. And often there are things that we encounter along the way on our journey on this path to connecting with what we deeply desire. And it serves a purpose. Everything serves a purpose. It's just not what we thought. And so, I immediately have two examples of this, if I can pull them. One example was I don't know, maybe maybe a year ago or sometime in the last year, I was very very open in strongly considering, do I want to be a business owner? Would I rather work for someone else? I'm such a good team member. I'm so good at following directions. I am so good at being reliable and delivering high quality work for others, Would I rather work for someone else's business and sort of be a contributor as opposed to having my own business and being, having the spotlight on me? I was scrolling on Instagram and someone who I follow, who is a business owner, they were talking about needing having several positions in the business to fill. They were in a period of growth, and they were definitely looking to take the company to the next level once they have all the right people in place. And there were so many things that it didn't make sense. The fact that I was intrigued and wanted to learn more and thought about applying, it didn't really make any sense because there were certain things that I thought I, reliably knew about their approach to business that just was out of alignment with what I coach, business owners. But it was undeniable. The urge to learn more and to potentially apply, it was, the energy was there and it was undeniable, albeit confusing to me. And the more I learned about the company, the more I was intrigued more and more. And gosh, it was so uncomfortable. I was coming to terms with where my comfort zone was and how far outside of my comfort zone taking this position would push me. And so there were all these fears coming up, and there was so much came up. So much came up. And ultimately, I did apply. And so much continued to come up for me. And that was ultimately the gift. All the limiting beliefs, all the fears, processing all of that shit, all the shit that came up that I had to clear just to submit my application. And then all the shit that came up, all the clarity that came after I submitted the application. And guess what, guys? Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't even make it past their bare minimum tier of, the recruiter didn't even pass me through. To be fair, I didn't even make a resume. I did more like a CV, if you will, but anyways, my ego is not attached to that at all, because it was so clear to me after. Now, in the moment, it wasn't clear at all. In the moment, I was feeling it all. I was absolutely stretched so far outside of my comfort zone, but I was being with it, and I was processing those fears as they were flooding my system. I was so uncomfortable, and there was so much that came up, so many limiting beliefs, so much programming and conditioning. And so at the end of the day, there was just, it was such a bountiful experience. I got so much from this experience of sticking with it, following through on that inspired guidance. But the universe had my back. It was never about me actually getting a job at this place. I thought it was. On the surface, that's of course what you would assume. But at the end of the day, it wasn't that at all. That was simply the path of least resistance for me to process a bunch of shit that was standing in my way, that was clouding my judgment, that was preventing me from connecting with what I deeply desire. It was never about actually getting the job. It was about everything that came up for me when I could have potentially gotten that job, and what that would have meant, and all the, just confronting all of those fears, all of those limiting beliefs and those old stories. And then what just happened recently? Recently, I had another experience where, again, it wasn't about the thing at all. So there was this this fitness coach that I follow, and she was offering one fully paid scholarship for 3 months of private one-on-one coaching, the program, all the things. And again, I had this inspiration to apply for this scholarship. And I almost like unconsciously it was almost like an out-of-body experience. I could see myself rationalizing why I shouldn't apply. My fears were interfering, right? They were what I was again pushed outside of my comfort zone. I mean, I have been by myself, all by myself, party of one, losing weight for the last 8 months. Imperfectly. There have been setbacks. I've made mistakes. But I've also been very successful. Maybe I didn't lose the weight as fast as I could have if I had paid for private one-on-one support. And that's okay. So when I saw that this person was offering this scholarship for 3 months, and I was thinking, oh my God, 3 months. That is approximately how much time I hope my hope is that in the next 3 months, I am complete with the weight loss part of the journey. And I hope to be transitioning into the weight maintenance stage of the journey at that point. And so it all felt like, ooh, gosh. Initially, when there was an email in my inbox. And I had ignored the previous emails from her. But then this email just jumped out at me. So I opened it. And then I learned about this scholarship. It all felt just so divinely timed, like divine intervention. And it was like, oh my gosh, what a fucking blessing that would be. Like, this is, of course, before the fear swooped in, right? When I opened the email, when I randomly just opened this email and I see this scholarship opportunity, it was like, oh, how great would that be? You know, how nice would it be for it to just be a little bit easier, to not have to do it by myself, but not have to pay that investment, because it would be thousands of dollars, you know? And there were times in the past where I would drop that money instantly. I would I would not blink, and I would have invested in that. But I've grown a lot. Like, I don't want to go down that. That's not what this is about. The bottom line is, right now, I'm not willing to pay thousands of dollars when I have successfully been doing it on my own. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. Especially since I don't actually know. 3 months is just 3 months. This journey of mine, I don't even know how long the weight loss journey aspect of it, that phase, will take. But it could be 3 months. It could be 6 months. It could be 9 months. I don't know. So, yeah, I just don't see the value isn't there. Like, I'm not in that place right now. It's not a yes for me to pay thousands of dollars for 3 months of support. But it would be nice. It would be nice to win that scholarship, right? That's what I was thinking. And then it was just, so I had this, should I apply? I'm inspired to take action on this. But then the fear swooped in, the limiting beliefs, the stories, and I was talking myself out of it. I was like, gosh, even if I won, would I even want to do it? Would I even accept it? And it was, of course, the answer is yes, I would want to do it. Yes, I would accept it. It was the fear of someone else hijacking my weight loss journey after I'm 8 months into it. It was the fear of someone pushing me outside of my comfort zone. It was the fear of actually showing up 100% for myself. And the impact that would have. Just sort of the shakeup that would happen from having that external force suddenly involved, and maybe even to some extent feeling like a loss of control. And just like before, where I was applying for that job, ultimately the gift wasn't winning the scholarship. I was a finalist, by the way. I was a finalist for the scholarship. I think they narrowed it down to 5. I could be wrong about that, but I thought that's what they said. But then they just did a random draw. So they narrowed it down from like over 100 applicants down to 5. But then it was like literally pulling a name out of the hat. And my name wasn't pulled. And it turns out it wasn't about winning the scholarship at all along. It was about everything that needed to come up and be processed and released while applying for that scholarship and while waiting to find out if I was the person that won it. Everything that came up that was interfering and trying to prevent me from being vulnerable, from being exposed, from being in that fear of losing control, of being pushed outside of my comfort zone. I've had sports injuries before. I've had 2 herniated discs in my back. I've had the most, I've experienced indescribable, uncontrollable, spasmodic pain that had me writhing on my bedroom floor, just uncontrollable pain that I never want to experience again. And so, all of which my brain attributes to injuries from lifting and working out, which I know is like the next step in my weight loss journey, is adding in strength training. And so there's just so much that came up, so many fears. I didn't win the scholarship, but I wasn't actually ever, like, it was never about winning the scholarship. It was about everything that came up in the process of applying for the scholarship and then waiting to find out if I won it. That is what it was actually for. And so I guess the moral of the story is, what I'm trying to share with you guys is, like, so many times we get in our own way. We stop before we even start. We are paralyzed by our fears and our old programming and our subconscious beliefs. And it's all because we're making all these assumptions. And it's like we're giving up on ourselves before we even try, you know? And the funny thing is, we don't even know why we are inspired to do or to take that action in the first place. We're making so many assumptions, and then we're talking ourselves out of it, or we're rationalizing why we shouldn't bother. And when we do that, we are robbing ourselves of the healing and growth that the universe is trying to orchestrate for us in order for us to connect with what we deeply desire. It's all always for our highest good. But so many times, I'm sure you can relate to this. We're human. I'm sure you can relate to this. How many times do we give up before we even get started? Or maybe like we take one little step forward, right? Like I'm so guilty of this, right? Like I will whatever, maybe like request information for something, but then not schedule the call. Or like, yeah, like I'll be inspired to look into something and then I do, but then I'm like, oh, that's too much work, or, you know? The bottom line is, we don't actually know why we're inspired to do what we're inspired to do. And a lot of times it doesn't even make sense. You know, one of my mentors, she shares how She was literally suffering from like extreme, like adrenal fatigue, total burnout from her job. Quit, hired a coach, and was wanting to start her own coaching business. And, you know, she only had so much in savings. She only had so much money to fund this transition where her business needed to, her coaching business, she needed to have enough clients to pay the bills. She only had so much in savings, and that savings was dwindling, you know? And it didn't make any sense, but she was committed to doing, she did have an alignment practice. Let me just clarify that. She did have an alignment practice. She was doing the inner work. And then she was trusting whatever she was inspired to do next. And not doing what she thought she should be doing, but really in that state of surrender and trust and belief and knowing. And what was crazy, like it actually makes me emotional. All she would be inspired to do, even though there were so many like obvious business tasks you would think she would focus on and prioritize, what she was actually inspired to do was take her dogs on walks, go into the mountains with her dogs, go hiking with her dogs. That's all she was inspired to do for the longest time. That's what brought her joy. That's what made her happy. That's what she wanted to do. So she did. And it didn't make any sense because there would be thousands of coaches, hundreds of thousands of coaches out there, business coaches that would have been like, you're doing what? No, 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 no. Spend those 4 hours on social media. Spend those 4 hours building your website. Spend those 4 hours networking. You don't have time to be walking your dogs. Don't you want to make money? Don't you want to get clients? You need to put yourself out there, right? But she honored that inner guidance. She didn't question it. She didn't rationalize why that's weird that that's all I want to do. She trusted it. And she filled her coaching practice. Not in the time that she hoped. She wanted it in like 1 month, and it took 3 months. But how many of us would have died and who would have been thrilled to fill our coaching practice in 3 months? You know? If she had listened to the gremlins, if she had listened to the experts, she would not have had the success that she had in the time that she had it. It didn't make any sense for her to go on these long hikes up the canyon or wherever it was into the mountains with her dogs. It didn't make any sense. But that's because it wasn't for her to understand. It wasn't her job to control. It wasn't her job to make sense of it all. Her job was to anchor into what she deeply desired and then take whatever inspired action came through, even if it didn't make sense. so often it's just about getting out of our own way and not questioning why we're inspired to go bake some cookies, or why we're inspired to go on the walk, or why we're inspired to apply for that scholarship, or why we're inspired to apply for that job. Like, we're always trying to control everything. We're always trying to make sense of everything, and we're just getting in our own way. We're just making it take longer. We know what we deeply desire. The universe knows what we deeply desire. We know in the depths of our soul what we deeply desire. And everything is conspiring in our favor. You know, Rumi says, what you seek is seeking you. And I truly believe that. We are the ones that need to get out of our own fucking way. I just hope that me sharing this with you somehow helps you get out of your own fucking way. And it helps me too when I share things like this. It just reminds me of all the times I'm getting in my own way. And there's a lot of them too. I am human. Well, but that's, this is all our journey. And so the last thing I want you to do is to criticize or judge or feel shame or frustration with yourself about this. It's just an invitation to let go. Keep anchoring into the energy of what you deeply desire. And then do your best to honor inspiration when it hits. Do your best to take immediate action when you are inspired to do something. Ask yourself, what would feel good next? What would I love to do next? What am I inspired to do next? And if what you're inspired to do next is to go bake a loaf of bread, so be it. If what you're inspired to do next is go for a walk, so be it. If what you're inspired to do next is to read a book, so be it. If what you're inspired to do next is to go online and scroll or what, when we are anchored in, when we are connected to the energy of what we desire, the truth is we can trust whatever comes next. But so often we don't. So often we question it. So often we talk ourselves out of whatever it is. So that's your mission, should you choose to accept it. Do that alignment work. Access that energy. Connect into that desire. Feel it. Enjoy that energy. Activate that energy within you. And then be open. Be ready and open and willing to do whatever you're inspired to do next. Trusting. I don't actually know where this is leading. I don't actually know why I'm inspired to do this or that or the other thing, but I don't have to know. I just get to trust and try to enjoy myself as much as possible each step along the way. I feel like I'm fading out, like I'm natural, like the light is like naturally fading away. And so that's my cue to end this video. Of course, your overall mission, should you choose to accept it, is to live and love your life on purpose. I hope this helped in some way. I hope you have a great day. Bye.